Kevin Grant's office, please.
Kevin Grant's office. Yes, Mrs. Grant?
Is he there?
No. He's on his last shot of the day. He should be on his way home shortly.
Oh, good. I've got his favorite dinner in the oven. We had a little bit of a fight this morning, and I'm going to try to make up for it.
Have fun.
Thanks. Bye, Mitch.
Good night, ladies. A beautiful scene. Good night, Les.
Hi, she said seductively.
Oh, what have we here? It's a long-stemmed American beauty, a welcome oasis in the desert of my life. Stick with me, girl. I'll make you famous. I'll put you in pictures. How are you?
Fine.
I'm late. I have to go home.
Kevin, how about a drink?
Thought you'd never ask. We shot a 360-degree shot today. 360 degrees. We hung the wires, and we got 3.5 pages in one shot, one over shoulder for coverage, and we were finished.
Good day.
Oh, no, a great day. Great day. And how about you?
3 hours in the gallery, posing isn't my bag. Fairly painless.
I thought about you. I should have called you. You had every right to think that you might play the part of the stewardess.
Kevin, you have no obligation to give me a reason. Simply pick somebody else.
But you were right for it. I just wanted somebody a little less noticeable, more part of the scenery. And you could never be part of the scenery.
I shouldn't have let that happen.
It just happened.
I made it happen. I waited for you. Kevin, why don't you go on home? Marjorie will be waiting.
Marjorie? Hey, it's Kevin, babe. I'm home. Marjorie? Are you upstairs? Marjorie? Marjorie?
In the world, there are many worlds. We all have our own wishing penny worlds. We dream. We all have our secret worlds. We share with very few. A world that's deep inside. A world we mostly hide from view.
Mark? 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 Mark. I'll get it.
Lieutenant Jackson here. Yeah. Well, thanks for checking. You keep me posted, I'll be here.
The boy?
Nothing.
Lieutenant, what have you found out so far? Excuse me, I'm John Bracken, Century Pictures.
Marvin Jackson.
What have you learned so far?
Nothing.
Is there anything missing?
A few small little things.
Or something that might be hot, perhaps?
Yeah, maybe.
Well, robbery was the motive, then.
I don't know.
Was she killed trying to stop someone?
I don't know.
You must have a theory, Lieutenant. What are you going on?
A human being. Or beings. Male or female. Caused Mrs. Grant to die. She was either dead before she fell or after she fell. That's my theory.
Did they break in?
No. Maybe Mrs. Grant let him in. Or her. Or them.
Was there a struggle?
Mr. Bracken, what do you know about Mrs. Grant's personal life?
I don't follow you.
You follow me.
They were happily married, if that's what you're driving at.
Well, we are.
Oh, Mr. Grant, I was at Wally's. I was cooking dinner for him, and well, he was just about ready to bring me over. I should have been here. If I'd have been here, it wouldn't have happened, would it?
Well, there's no way you could have known that, Mrs. Hopkins. There's no way any of us could have known that.
Mr. Grant, I'm awfully sorry, sir. If there's anything I can do, anything at all.
No, that's all right, Wally. Just take care of your aunt. Huh?
Oh, what about Mark? Have you heard?
Oh, we haven't heard yet.
Mrs. Hopkins, I'd like to ask you and your nephew a few questions. Would you come with me?
What are you asking them questions for? They don't know any more than I do. What are you doing to find my boy?
I'd like to go over the list of missing items with you, Mrs. Hopkins.
I have been over that damned list with them 100 times if I've been over it once. Now, the only thing he is doing is checking my story with her.
Well, what is there to check? You came home from the studio, you found her, and that's it, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. Sit down. Sit down. How did you find out?
Diane and I were having dinner when John called me.
When did it happen, Gilbert?
I shouldn't have stayed at the studio. I should have come straight home.
You mustn't think that would make any difference.
Well, I do. I got to the house and I opened up the door and I called her name. And she didn't answer. There was a light on in the upstairs hallway. She turned that light on after it got to be dark. And if I hadn't stayed at the studio, well,
I'm sorry. Sorry.
Just got a call on the car radio. They found your boy. He's okay.
is he?
A patrol car from the Malibu Sheriff's Station is bringing him up here now.
Malibu?
He was spotted with a couple of hippies walking along Topanga Canyon Road. They claim they found him last night, bound and gagged on the side of the road. They were taking him to the Malibu Sheriff's Station when we picked him up.
They found him last night and are just getting around to taking him to a sheriff's station this morning?
That's what they said.
And you believe them?
I believe everything I'm told, Mr. Grant. I'm on my way down there now.
If they touched him...
Mr. Grant, your boy doesn't know about his mother.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Grant. We had a nice talk with your son. Bye-bye, Mark.
Bye, Mr. Curtis.
How are you?
Fine.
Oh, boy. Where'd you get the beads?
Oh, Hal and Miriam gave them to me. When they found me, I didn't know where I was. But they gave me these beads and said I wasn't lost anymore.
Do you remember how you got lost?
You mean that guy got me?
What guy?
I don't know. I couldn't see. I was in my room when I heard a funny noise downstairs. So I came down. But before I could even see anything, somebody put something over my head, tied my hands behind my back, then put some stuff in my mouth so I couldn't even yell.
Oh, it's all right. It's all right now. You don't even have to think about that anymore.
Oh, it's okay to think about it now. Hal and Miriam said so. But when I do think about it, keep on going till I get to the part where Hal and Miriam find me. That's the good part.
What happened then?
The police put them in jail. They put Hal and Miriam in jail. Why did they do that, Daddy?
Well, I guess it's because they think that maybe they're the ones who took you away.
Took me away?
Yeah, remember, you didn't see who it was.
Well, it wasn't Hal and Miriam. They're the ones that found me, Dad. David gave me food to eat.
Well, you're home now. And that's what counts. Let's go inside. There's something I have to talk to you about.
Where's Mommy? I'm going to tell her about Hal and Miriam. She likes him. Mom! Mom! Mom!
Is anyone else? Was there any chance this was another ritual murder?
Yeah, what about those two
Hollywood names?
What about the split, Kevin? Let's stay about this time. Thank you, gentlemen.
Gentlemen, please. I'll answer whatever question.
You've been up all night. You should be at home.
I came right on to the studio. I just didn't want to be alone.
It's beginning out there. There's nothing they're not going to ask.
I know. It's not going to be easy.
You know, I used to think I knew all the people I worked with. Last night, one of the detectives asked me if Marjorie was playing around, was she?
Oh, no, John, absolutely not. She adored Kevin. She was doing everything she could to make their marriage work.
Well, then there were problems.
It was the studio mostly. It took so much of his time, and she resented it.
What about Kevin and Diane?
I don't think there's anything there, John.
That was not the impression I got last night, and I'm quite sure that Lieutenant Jackson saw the same thing I did.
All right. There is a certain attraction between them. But I know that they both resisted it.
Is that all, Laura? Is there anything else I should know? I do not want anyone throwing something at me that I have not heard about.
You know everything I do, John.
And the irony of it is, it's none of my business or anybody else's. It's just that it happened here to a film name, and it's going to be everybody's business.
Mr. Grant.
Yeah. We can't hold him.
Why not?
We don't have any evidence that they were anywhere near your place.
Lieutenant, there are ways of holding suspects.
Mr. Grant, you've got a hearing problem, so I'll say it to you as carefully as I can. We have to turn them loose because of a lack of evidence.
You're just going to let him go, is that it?
That's right.
Lieutenant, let me ask you something. Do you think that they killed my wife?
I don't have any opinion on it.
Well, what kind of questions did you ask them anyway?
Routine.
Routine?
Lieutenant, I hope we didn't take your time. Yeah, you better get it on back to that paperwork now, here.
Is that done? Yeah. Grant. Don't be a fool. I'm working on this case. Don't mess it up.
I take it you're Mr. Grant. Well, what are you doing arguing with a pig?
I just wanted to say that my boy is grateful to you. So am I.
Oh, yeah, I can see that. We can see that. Isn't that crystal clear?
I can see that.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, this is Miriam. Miriam...
I told you my last name.
Yeah, I know you did, but I forgot it. Wait a minute, don't tell me. It starts with an H. It's, Harris. Miriam Harris.
No. It's Halsey.
Ah, Halsey. You know, me and the little Admiral been together, and I up and forgot her name. Now, I'm Hal Ingersoll, right?
That's right.
Yeah, I'm almost positive that's my name.
Oh, Mr. Ingersoll, my boy told me that you fed her. Thank you.
Mr. Grant, I gotta be honest with you. Your boy don't have your features.
He looks more like Lieutenant Thomas over there.
Jackson. Oh, hey, listen, I bet you got a car parked here somewhere, don't you?
Yeah.
Well, you know, we were going to walk over to the highway and thumb a lift, but why don't you give us a ride up to Topanga Canyon? I mean, you got to go back to town, right? And it's right on your way, isn't it?
Yeah, and we get awful nervous about thumbing. I mean, you can't tell who's going to pick you up. It might be a pervert or a
weirdos.
kid or...
Yeah, a guy with hepatitis.
I mean, sometimes it don't pay you to go from here to there.
All right. Oh, what do you say?
Yeah, sure. Come on.
Great. Hey. Get in there.
I'm going to ride over.
Hi. Hello, Rachel. Did you just arrive? Would you like some coffee?
Oh, thank you.
Here. Cream and sugar?
No.
Cookie?
Oh, no, thank you.
Kevin isn't here right now. He'll be back soon, I think. We could use some sleep. I think we all could.
How's Mark?
He's going to be all right. This is really dreadful. I kind of dug Marjorie. So did I. Could you be married to Kevin? I don't know. I never thought about it. I thought about it. I used to think, what would it be like being married to a guy like Kevin? Having his children and raising them. Giving up any idea of a career, just taking care of him. Even in my wildest fantasies, I couldn't make it work. Do you think Marjorie wanted a career? I think Marjorie wanted Kevin to love her, and that's all. Laura? Would you mind if I stayed a few days in your spare room at the beach? All right. Is there anything wrong? Oh, just a little bit scared. Of what? Of whoever's out there and whoever's done this thing and is reading about it and thinking about it. Thinking about knocking off one of us Hollywood girls. To be honest about it, I think we're all a little scared.
are you doing?
All right. Champ, how are you?
I'm fine. Dad, would you mind if I go upstairs?
No, you go right ahead. They let him go.
Then there's nothing? No suspects?
At least none that the police are talking about. I talked to them, the hippies, as they walked out of the sheriff's substation. A lot of flip charm, but a lot of hostility. They asked me to drop them off at Topanga Canyon. And I did.
Can I get you anything?
No, I'm fine.
No, thank you.
You know, when I heard the news, I had a sudden thought about the time when Marge got a little drunk.
Oh, Mother.
We could talk about it, baby. Marge drank. She drank too much. We all knew it, didn't we? But anyway, this one day she comes in, she's going to pick up Kevin. And she walked on the wrong stage, so I followed her. And there she was up on this catwalk, giggling, carrying on, lining up a shot. Oh, she got on all right. Had a good laugh. I guess it was sort of a dumb thing to think about, why not?
I remember one time Kevin took both Marjorie and Mark down to location.
Mm.
They seemed all together, a family. I'll get it, Kevin.
Hi. Hey, man, the twerp and I got to talking, and we figured since your boy lost his mother, we'd pay our respects.
Thank you.
Where is he, upstairs?
I just assumed you wouldn't disturb him right now.
I can take it. But we'll wait, if you don't mind. You know, me and the twerp, we've been to all kinds of Irish wakes and Jewish shivers and even a couple of those Indian funeral pyres, but we never been to one of these Hollywood deals. What is that, coffee over there?
Yeah, I've been to maybe 12, maybe even 20 zoos.
Of course, you found me.
Yeah, some animal. Anyway, every time we go into a city that's big enough to have a zoo, I always spend, oh, thank you very much, Mrs. Hopkins. I spend at least one whole day walking around looking at the animals. I got a real communication with animals.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah? Well, let me tell you what I did one day. One day, I walked right in with the polar bears.
Come on, Miriam.
Yeah, I walked right in. I walked right up to the king bear and I...
They don't call them kings.
They don't? Yeah, they do. They call this one king. I walked right up to the king bear and I says, I dig you, old bear. I dig the way you sit there and groove.
What'd he say?
What'd he say?
Tell the kid. Go ahead.
He said, okay, proof you're not scared. Stick your head in my mouth and I can tell whether you're scared or not.
Well?
I stuck my head in his mouth.
What happened then?
He bit it off.
You're a real J.R. Tolkien.
Yeah, well, you tell him some animals.
No, you tell him
No,
another
let
one.
me tell him.
Okay, you tell him animals.
Hi, come in.
Can I do anything?
No, nothing. But thank you.
Come on, there must be some errand I can run. Anything. How about picking up Mark?
I'm all right, Diane, really. Mark, I don't know whether he's covering up or not. He's handling it all pretty good.
Covering up his real feelings to make it easier on you.
Maybe so.
That's quite a son you've got. Now think of something else.
The hippies are out in the kitchen. The girl, Miriam, fixed dinner. She's really great with Mark. Did I say hippies? I used to like that word. I always respected people who were able to turn their backs on all this magnificent order of ours. Now, I don't know. They're pretty strange. I have been thinking about us.
So have I. Nothing happened, Kevin.
No. But we wanted it to happen, didn't we?
I want to spend time with you. Talk and say dumb things and cook for you. And do something to make it 1 degree less painful. But I can't, can I? I wish you'd let me run an errand.
Is that your private stock or?
Sure. Hey, I got hundreds of them, man. They just fall down at the sight of me.
Oh, groovy chick.
Yes. She surely is.
Hey, man, you know something? We live the same way, you and me.
We do?
Yeah. Miriam don't know about Janetta. Janetta is this chick I found 2 weeks ago. So when Miriam's head ain't on right, I look up Janetta.
Right on, man. You and me live just alike.
What did you just call us? Strange? Maybe we are. Maybe you're the strange one, man. And you got the whole look, ain't you? You let the hair grow and you wear the funky clothes, but you live square, man. You got 1 foot in the real world and 1 foot in this. Do you know what I want? Have you got one of those after-dinner liquors?
Yeah, sure.
Hey, I hate to drink alone.
Well, you won't drink alone, or you won't drink at all.
Or? So, what do you think?
About what?
About me. You've been studying me. Trying to figure me out. Trying to find the way to pin this thing on me and Miriam. So? What do you think?
For everything there is a season, and a time for every matter under heaven. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to pluck up what is planted. A time to break down and a time to build up. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to mourn and a time to dance. A time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones together. A time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to seek and a time to lose. A time to keep and a time to cast away. A time to rend and a time to sow. A time to keep silence and a time to speak. A time to love and a time to hate. A time for war and a time for peace. Wait a minute.
Have a bite.
No, thanks. I had breakfast already.
Pretty good words you laid down there, eh?
Yeah.
Time to keep, time to cast away.
Yeah.
Watch yourself.
You, were the people who found the boy, weren't you?
Yeah, we found it.
We've become real good friends of his.
I have no official position here. I'm just a friend of the family. But I think it would be a courtesy if you did not come to the burial site.
Please.
Reducto ad absurdum. The whole world reduced to its most childish absurdity.
Sometimes I feel that way myself.
Is this work for a grown man, John? Really? For an adult?
It is not work for a man who has just lost his wife a couple of days ago, Kevin.
Marjorie got all caught up in this, you know. This fantasy business of ours. She got squeezed between what's real and what's fake.
Marjorie didn't die because she's part of filmmaking, part of the Hollywood scene.
No?
No.
Then what did she die of, John?
The impact of a stone fireplace. Yes, the impact of a stone fireplace. It was a terrible, tragic, senseless thing. But for one moment in life, she found herself standing in the way of madness. That's it.
I'll call the boys and get them to finish the set. I can start in here tomorrow.
I don't think so.
I'm all right, John.
You are not all right, Kevin.
I have 3 pages in this set. 3 1/8 pages to be exact. I can knock them off by the end of the day. That clears me for the exteriors, then assuming no retakes, I am finished with my obligation.
Obligation?
That's right, John. I'm leaving the studio, the town, the slow poison called a lifestyle.
Well, you won't start tomorrow. You start Monday. It'll give you more time.
Good old detached John Brackett. Cool, calm, full of reason. You see everything with perspective, don't you? Right now, Kevin Grant is a little too close to the tragedy of his wife's death to think clearly, right? Wrong. Hollywood's for you, John, not for me.
Kevin, life comes and life goes, but no more arbitrarily in Hollywood than anywhere else in the world. And that is no reason for you to pack it in, including your career, and leave.
Come on, John.
This town is different than you know it.
Only because what happens here makes headlines.
How does the tune Hooray for Hollywood go?
Why don't we go back to the office? I have a good bottle of Tennessee sour
I can't
mash
be
there.
handled, John.
Now, listen.
No! John, this is where my wife was murdered. And I'll never believe it could have happened anywhere else in the world. For me, it happened here. And I'll have to live with that for the rest of my life. This is my last picture. Fade out. The end.
How's Mark?
He's fine. Let me finish telling you about what I want to do. Frank's entrance in the banquet scene. Instead of an ordinary angle out here, standard night. Yes. Mr. Collins, thank you for returning my call. Thank you, Mr. Collins. Let me get to the point. I'd like to have Mark start back to school tomorrow. Well, I agree, but I think he's all right now. In fact, he's upstairs studying his math. Mr. Collins, I'll have to arrange now that... I'm going to have to make other arrangements to get Mark to school. He'll have to go by bus. 10 minutes after 8, the bottom of the hill. Thank you very much.
Sending Mark back to school, huh?
Yeah. I don't want him upstairs alone anymore.
That's good, Kevin. Means you'll be staying in town for a while?
Until I finish the picture, John.
Now, what about the effect on Mark? You pull him out of a school that he knows, away from children he knows, and put him into someplace as strange. Isn't one shock enough? Oh, all right, you made up your mind. Let's get back to the set plans. It seems to me you're changing techniques in the middle of the film now.
Well, I think it'll work. At the beginning of the movie, Frank is seen as ordinary. It's only towards the end that he reveals his power thing.
Hey, there you go, man. And now, introducing the amazing Miriam.
Hi.
We brought you something for your kid.
Jojo made this just for Mark. It's a polar bear. Remember polar bear?
Well, go ahead, take it, Mr. Grant. It's not going to explode. Hey, there you are.
Jojo makes this stuff because he really digs animals, just like we do. Is Mark here?
Make sure that he gets this.
Well, we just didn't want Mark to forget us. Hi. We met at the funeral, remember?
Yeah, we got a split tonight. We're taking off up the Coast Highway.
Listen, we sure are sorry about everything.
Right.
You know we're going to have to thumb it.
A lot of kooks and perverts, man. Be careful.
Hey, right on, man.
Yeah, he's heavy, he really is. No, I mean, we sure could use us a couple of sandwiches to tide us over. You still got that little old lady working out there in the kitchen, don't you?
Mrs. Hopkins.
It doesn't have to be anything special, just something simple.
Yes, Mr. Grant.
Mrs. Hopkins, our friends are leaving us. Do you suppose you could prepare something for them to take along with them?
Certainly. Hello, Miriam.
Hello, Mrs. Hopkins.
Well, what would you like?
Oh, something a little chewy, some nice meat sandwiches or something?
Meat sandwiches is a good idea. And maybe a couple of chunks of cheese, huh? You know, that big old wheel you got back there in the kitchen?
And some coffee. We have some picnic containers.
Groovy.
Mr. Grant, Mr. Bracken. I'm glad to see you two. Thought I missed you. We're just up in the canyon. Ran into your friend who makes those things.
Jojo!
He says he thought you were leaving town tonight.
Well, now, you didn't ask us to stay, officer.
We've got a few questions we'd like to ask you.
Well, about what?
Why don't you and a young lady leave with me right now?
Because in another hour, it's going to be dark, and you cannot hitch a long ride at night. That's why.
I've got a man who says he recognizes your pictures.
Where'd you dig him up?
He says he picked you up a half a mile from here the night Mrs. Grant was killed.
That's very interesting. Did he also say that we had the kid with us?
Let's go. Kevin.
See y'all! Oh, Grant, don't get a haircut. You're coming along real fine.
I'll be upstairs with Mark.
Mr. Bracken, how about some nice fresh coffee, huh?
Thank you, yes.
Go on and make yourself comfortable.
Thank you.
I'm going to give you a piece of cake.
Oh, no, thank you, Mrs.
You'll love it. Those two, I suppose the police are going to pin it on them now, huh? You know, I liked them and I didn't like them. You know what I mean? They were sweet about little things, especially the girl. You know, Mark certainly went for her, and kids have an instinct about people, you know? Of course, there was something hard and cruel about him, too. Well...
Oh, it's very good cake.
You know, it's a funny thing, but Mr. Grant used to like a big piece of it for breakfast. And, you know, when you had one of those early calls and had to be ready at 8 o'clock and on the set at 7:30, boy, you people sure keep dreadful hours. It's fuel, you know, like gasoline in an engine, you know. The girl, Miriam, you know, she was at home in the kitchen. That's a good sign. Of course, she didn't have any regard for older people, and that's just bad upbringing, you know, very bad. Hal never cleaned his fingernails. I'm going to get you a big bag so you can
no, Mrs. Hopkins.
Oh, you can have it on later on, you know. Eat something. You know, I swear the smog's getting worse all the time. Do you mind if I have a cup of coffee myself?
Please, go right ahead.
Thank you.
These last days have been terrible.
You know, we keep putting that stuff in our lungs, breathing it in, you know. Inside we're nothing but black as a chimney. Oh, God. Oh, Mr. Bracken, you know, I wouldn't do anything that would hurt Mr. Grant. I would have done anything to stop this from happening. Mr. Grant and his wife are like family to me. And I love them like a family. And they love me and my family. And I didn't ask them to help Wally when he got out of the Army and give him a job, but that was their idea. They wanted to help. They knew that Wally was always asking me for money. They loved me, Mr. Bracken. Look, I swear that I didn't want anything to hurt them, really.
Yes, I'm sure you did.
And Wally worked hard. He didn't run around with one of those tough gangs. You know what I mean?
Did you know any of Wally's friends?
Not really. You're not thinking it could have been one of them.
You didn't really know any of them?
No, just to say hello to them. They were just like Wally, you know, clean-cut and soft-spoken.
It's just that it crossed my mind. I'm sure it's crossed yours, the possibility that Wally met someone casually, you know, at some house or a party, some guy, some gal that talked with Wally and found out that he did odd jobs at a big Beverly Hills home.
Mr. Bracken, anything's possible, isn't it?
No, I'm upsetting you. It's just that Mrs. Grant's death has been such a shock to all of us that I thought something had slipped your mind and you were just beginning to remember it now.
I don't remember Wally's friends. No. They were all just a lot of young faces to me.
Well, all right. Well, we'll drop it.
I often wondered why you didn't use Mrs. Grant in pictures. You know, she was such a lovely woman.
I often used to say how lucky I thought Kevin Grant was.
Oh, yeah.
She seemed so full of life.
Oh, stop it!
Mrs. Hopkins. Look at me. Did you tell Lieutenant Jackson everything you knew on Thursday night?
Last Thursday?
Yes. The night you were left when you cooked supper for Wally.
Yeah. Night Mrs. Grant was killed.
Was Wally there for supper, or did he come late?
Lieutenant Jackson to see Mr. Grant.
Yes, sir. His office is Bungalow B, right around the corner.
Thank you, sir.
How's it going?
Pretty good. I think I'm going to have to slop over till tomorrow sometime.
Ceiling pieces do take time, don't they?
Yeah.
Lieutenant Jackson to see you, Captain.
Send him in.
We've got a confession. Mrs. Hopkins' nephew, Wally. He's been on speed and always needed money. While his aunt was cooking his dinner for him that night, he told her he was going down the street to shoot a game of pool. Instead, he went to your house with her keys. Pick up a few things he could hock. Unfortunately, he ran into Mrs. Grant. Of course, Wally told us that he had no intention of killing Mrs. Grant. On his way out, he ran into little Mark, took him with him. Couldn't kill him, so he abandoned him.
Always wanted to help him somehow. What about Hal and Miriam?
We let him go. The man who said he recognized them still claims that they were the ones he picked up, even after we told him we had a confession.
I'm not very proud of this. But I could have picked them to be the killers.
We all could have.
Could have happened anywhere.
We wrap the picture, John. Good. Well, you look pleased.
I am pleased. It's going to be a good picture, I think. A very good picture.
Good. I'm glad to hear it.
In fact, I can't wait to start to cut it together. And generally, I feel pretty depressed at the end of shooting today. For some reason, I don't feel quite that badly.
That's great.
Well, that's all I had to say. I just want to say we finished.
Very kind of you. Thank you, Kevin.
Look, John, I was talking to somebody on the set today, just talking, passing the time of the day, and they mentioned that you had just acquired the rights to an original screenplay by Eddie Anhalt.
That's true?
Yeah, well, you know how I feel about his writing.
Yeah, you mentioned it a number of times.
I'd like a crack at it, John.
You'd be considered.
Well, I guess that's all I can ask for.
Kevin? Welcome back.
After this message, Bracken's World will preview some scenes from next week's show.
We all wait in our tiny world for a glimpse of love's bright and shiny world. Until